eminent clergy, Senior Presidential Advisor, Attorney General, Minister for Finance, and Member of Parliament for Karaga, the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, and Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and Member of Parliament for Damango, Minister for Local Government, Decentralization, and Rural Development, and Member of Parliament for Techiman South, Deputy Attorneys General, Solicitor General, Director of Public Prosecutions, Head of the Civil Service, Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, and officials of the Presidency, Justices of the Supreme Court, and other Justices of the Superior Court of Judicature, judges, members of the Judicial Council, members of the General Legal Council, the President and members of the Bar Council of the Ghana Bar Association, members of the Ghana Bar Association, the representative of the Gamanche, and other distinguished traditional rulers, the Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. Today is indeed a day of great pride and accomplishment as we stand before this magnificent 12-story edifice, the Law House. This moment marks the culmination of a long journey that began over 2 decades ago, when I served as Attorney General in the government of the second President of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor. It was then that the vision for this building was conceived, and now we see that vision transformed into a tangible reality under my presidency. The completion of the Law House stands as a testament to the MPP government's commitment to addressing the age-old office accommodation problem that has plagued the Attorney General's office and the Ministry of Justice for far too long. This state-of-the-art facility will now house the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Justice, providing a conducive environment for the efficient administration of the law in our country. I must at the outset pay glowing tribute to the work undertaken by the Attorney General, Akufo-Addo, in bringing us to this day. When he assumed office as Attorney General in 2021, after 4 years as Deputy Attorney General, the completion status of the Law House project was, as we have been told, at 36%. His personal commitment, together with my support, were instrumental in reviving and bringing the project to completion. His efforts ensured that this initiative, which has easily ended up as another abandoned government project, was implemented to become the impressive structure that we are celebrating. Indeed, the contract for the construction was awarded to Messrs. Energo Project Ghana Limited in 2021, 23 years ago. But due to various challenges, including delays and the need for fresh procurement approvals, the project faced several hurdles. Akufo-Addo navigated these issues by obtaining the relevant approvals and re-engaging contractors, leading to a renewed effort to complete the project. He has done a yeoman's job. And I say a hearty Ayuko to him. After all, not to be overlooked, he's one of the many worthy products of Messrs. Akufo-Addo, Prempeh, and Co. Ladies and gentlemen, the importance of this building goes beyond its physical structure. It symbolizes our strong dedication to upholding the tenets of the rule of law, which is the bedrock of any thriving democracy. The rule of law ensures that no one is above the law. That is, the concept of equality before the law is respected. That justice is administered fairly and impartially, and that the rights and freedoms of every citizen are protected. It is the foundation upon which we build an equitable, free, and just society. Throughout my tenure as president, my administration has made considerable strides in strengthening the rule of law in Ghana. We've embarked on a journey of digitization and modernization of our legal and judicial systems, recognizing that in this digital age, the efficient administration of justice must keep pace with technological advancements. One of our key achievements in this regard is the digitization of court processes. We've introduced electronic filing systems, reducing the reliance on paper-based documentation and streamlining the judicial process. This initiative has not only expedited the handling of cases, but has also enhanced transparency and accountability within the legal system. Lawyers and litigants can now file their documents online, access case information, and receive updates on their cases in real time. This is a major leap forward in making justice more accessible and efficient for all Ghanaians. My government has also committed itself to improving judicial infrastructure, providing resources and ensuring the safety and security of judges who often face risks in the line of duty. Indeed, since my assumption of office in 2017, my government has made unprecedented progress in the provision of court buildings and residences for judges around the country. In 2020, we set out to construct 100 court houses with residential facilities nationwide. As of February 2024, 79 courthouses have been successfully inaugurated and are in use at different sites around the country. The remaining 21 projects are at various stages of completion and are expected to be completed and inaugurated this year. In addition, 121 residential units have been constructed for judges throughout the country. Further, 20 fully furnished 4-bedroom units, together with social amenities, have been constructed for justices of the Court of Appeal in Kumasi. The project is not yet complete, but I can safely say that we have done enough to address the perennial problem of insufficient court infrastructure in Ghana. In our quest to promote further the rule of law, we have also focused on enhancing access to justice for all Ghanaians, regardless of their socioeconomic status. Until 2022, the Legal Aid Commission had only 6 vehicles, the last of which it acquired in 2007. Through the intervention again of the Attorney General, a total of 91 vehicles have been procured for the Attorney General's office, 13 of which have been delivered to the Legal Aid Commission. increasing its number of vehicles from 6 to 19. This has helped in expanding the coverage of legal aid services so that indigent persons can obtain legal representation and advice. It has also gone a long way in bridging the justice delivery gap and ensuring that access to justice is not a privilege reserved for the few, but a right to be enjoyed by all. In total, in my time as president, 115 vehicles have been acquired for use by officials of the Ministry of Justice. Under the Akufo-Addo government, the capacity of the Attorney General's office has been bolstered, enabling it to handle numerous international arbitration cases without recourse to foreign or external counsel. This represents a marked departure from previous practice, where external legal expertise was often sought. The strengthened Attorney General's office has demonstrated notable success, effectively advocating Ghana's interests on the international stage and achieving favorable outcomes in various arbitration proceedings, including reducing the cost of proceedings for the state. This strategic enhancement not only underscores government's commitment to self-reliance in legal matters, but also showcases the proficiency and competence of domestic legal talent in managing complex international disputes. Despite the ugly noises, the fight against corruption has been a cornerstone of my administration. With a clear understanding that corruption thrives in an atmosphere conducive to its concealment, and that access to information is a vital tool in the fight against corruption, my government in its first term ensured the passage of the Right to Information Act, 2019 Act 989, in order to give true meaning and effect to Article 21, Clauses 1F of the Constitution. The Act, which successive governments had failed to pass, sees to the implementation of the constitutional right to information held by a public institution to foster a culture of transparency and accountability in public affairs, subject to exemptions, necessary and consistent with the protection of the public interest in a democratic society. The Act is now being fully implemented, with the governing board chaired by an experienced and respected retired High Court judge. The Ministry of Information has trained information officers in various ministries, departments, and agencies of government to support the full application of the law. In 2018, again during my first term, Parliament passed the Witness Protection Act 2018, Act 975, to which I gave assent on 24th August of the same year. The Act established a Witness Protection Agency to create a witness protection scheme as a vehicle for offering protection to persons who are required to cooperate with law enforcement agencies as witness in the investigation and prosecution of cases, particularly corruption cases affecting public officers. The Criminal Offences Amendment Act 2020, Act 1034, has been passed to amend Section 239 of the Criminal Offences Act to categorize the offense of corruption, previously a misdemeanor, as a felony, and to provide stiffer punishments of terms of imprisonment of not less than 12 years and not more than 25 years in prison. Other laws passed by Parliament at the instigation of my administration, and which have improved materially the capacity of the state in the fight against corruption, are the Revenue Administration Amendment Act 2020, Act 1029, the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018, Act 982, the State Interest and Governance Authority Act 2019, Act 990, the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044, Corporate Restructuring and Insolvency Act 2020, Act 1015, the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, including its provisions on the Register of Beneficial Owners, the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2020, Act 1019, the Real Estate Agency Act 2020, Act 1047. Administratively, a series of other far-reaching measures have been undertaken by my government to help in the fight against corruption. A memorandum of understanding on information exchange and collaboration in combating corruption and crime in general has been signed by SHRAJ, IOCO, Parliament, the Office of the Attorney General, the Audit Service, the Police Service, the Financial Intelligence Center, the Narcotics Control Commission, the Internal Audit Agency, the National Investigations Bureau, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor to this end. The use of technology has been pivotal in our efforts to combat corruption. We have introduced digital platforms for public procurement processes, reducing human intervention and minimizing the opportunities for corrupt practices. These platforms have increased transparency, efficiency, and competitiveness in public procurement, ensuring that public resources are judicially used for the benefit of all Ghanaians. Before I conclude, Madam Chief Justice, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure we are all aware of the statement by the former president and perennial NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, stigmatizing me as the clearing agent, because for him, mere allegation without more is enough to merit condemnation of an accused public official, especially one of my administration. For my part, and let me state it again for the record, I will not set aside due process and the rules of natural justice on the altar against corruption, no matter how much opprobrium this position incurs for me. I hope you will indulge me if I recall a story my father told me, which is one that has always resonated with me, and which I believe is germane. In 1961, Teria Adamafio, then serving as Ghana's all-powerful Minister for Presidential Affairs in the First Republic, under the CPP government of President Kwame Nkrumah, the nation's first president, moved the motion in Parliament for the establishment of a special criminal court of the High Court. This court was intended to expedite the legal process for the trial of cases of national importance and political offenses, reflecting the government's desire to address swiftly issues that threaten national security. In Teria Adamafio's words in Parliament, the court was being established to do justice, not law. The special court was part of President Nkrumah's broader strategy to consolidate power and maintain tight control over the political landscape of the country, ensuring that any threats to his administration could be dealt with promptly and decisively. By a twist of fate, in 1963, Teria Adamafio became one of the first presidents to be tried before this very special court he had helped to establish. He was accused of involvement in the Kulungungu bomb attack, an assassination attempt that nearly claimed the life of President Kwame Nkrumah. Given the composition of the court, with all the judges appointed by President Nkrumah, Terry Adamafield feared his fate was sealed. However, in a surprising turn of events, the court examined the evidence meticulously and concluded that Terry Adamafield and two others were innocent of the charges of treason. Following his release from prison after the 1966 coup that overthrew the First Republic, Terry Adamafield visited my father, Edward Akufo-Addo, then Chief Justice, who was one of the judges that heard the case, together with Chief Justice Arko Korsah and Mr. Justice William Van Leer, to express his gratitude. He remarked to my father on the fairness of the trial that he was delighted that the court upheld the law and that his life had been saved by the court's adherence to the rule of law. My father, according to him, deliberately refrained from bringing up Terry Adamafield's comment about the need for the court to do justice, not law. The rule of law is the best protection of individual liberty in good times and bad times. In so saying, I want to use the opportunity of this platform to reassure the Ghanaian people that the law enforcement agencies of the state, including the Office of the Attorney General, will do all within their power to ensure that law and order prevail in the country at all times, especially during this critical election year. We will not allow the peace, security, and stability of the nation, which have made Ghana a beacon of democracy on the African continent, to be compromised on the altar of the ambitions of any political party or presidential candidate. It will not happen. The laws on our statute books, including those on vigilantism, will be strictly and vigorously enforced to preserve the peace and tranquility of the country. We owe that to the good people of Ghana, who've demonstrated so consistently and openly their deep attachment to peaceful democratic values. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chief Justice, the commissioning of the Law House is not just a celebration of a new building. It is a celebration of our collective commitment to the rule of law and justice. It is proof of our belief that a strong legal system is essential for the development and prosperity of our nation. As we look to the future, let us remember that the rule of law is not a static concept. It is a living principle that requires constant nurturing and vigilance. We must continue to adapt and evolve our legal systems to meet the changing needs of our society. But in so doing, we must remain steadfast in our commitment to justice, fairness, and equality for all. In conclusion, I would like to express my heartiest gratitude to all those who have contributed to the realization of this project, to successive Attorney Generals, and I see the former Attorney General and MP for Akufo-Addo Ketai here with us, architects, engineers, contractors, and workers who have brought this vision to life. I say thank you. To the current Attorney General and staff of the Ministry of Justice, your determination and hard work have made this day possible. And to the people of Ghana, your unflinching support and belief in the rule of law have been the driving force behind our efforts. That driving force will, in response to the Chief Justice and the Solicitor General, enabled by the grace of God and the decision of the Ghanaian people, President Mahamudu Bawumia, to continue with the work of improving the infrastructure of the Ministry of Justice, especially in the regions and districts of our country. As we open the doors of the Law House, Let us do so with a renewed dedication to justice, integrity, and the rule of law. Let this building stand as a symbol of hope and a representation of our collective aspiration for a free, just, and prosperous society. Accordingly, Chief Justice, Attorney General, member of the Council of State, justices, members of the Judicial Council, members of the General Legal Council, President and executives of the Bar Council, members of the Bar, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular pleasure and honor to declare the Law House duly commissioned. May God bless the Law House and all who work in it, and us all. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.